praise and worship before the Most High and take out this opportunity to just really love him the way he's asked us to, and love him the way that I know that we all under this roof desire to. So let us just go before him with clean temples and ask him for whatever forgiveness that we need for ourselves and for the house of Israel, and just take this opportunity to just love on the Most High and just show him that we love him. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
For I am poor and
Oh Adonai, do I lift up my soul? Do I lift up my soul unto you? Oh Adonai, do I lift up my soul? Do I lift up my soul? All nations
Yes, Father. Yes. Hallelujah. Yeah. Hallelujah. I'm hoping this steadfast love. Yeah. That's right.
Upon me.
Today's birthday. let me take it. Oh, yeah. Did you start presenting? Oh, goodness. Move your mouse again. Move your mouse again. Your mouse. Move your mouse again. I don't know if I can put it on this. I gotta put it on. Is that a presentation? You already present? Oh, that's the what's the ASAP?
Right there.
that's going to change it too. But those little seeds, sometimes we feel like we got
Right now. Where's your how long do we say that? Was like every hour?
We good now. Or we good. We're talking. Yeah, he already started for this.
Oh, my bad. I'm on the way.
Maybe.
Sorry.
You got that bottle.
Oh, there it is.
Remember what you taught me? You can go, keep on going. That's where I can see your hand now. I can see your hand now. He's sweating, I'm about to say.
Okay.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Oh, he's all beat.
Yeah, I know.
So quickly.
So we good? Are we good? All right. Okay, y'all. Oh, my disclaimer, right? I hope it comes out right. I hope it comes out right.
Watch what you...
Watch what you say. Be careful what you reach for.
That's it. All of it.
All of that. So, man, isn't that a beautiful line?
It is.
Yeah, that's a pretty one. I wouldn't mess with it.
Right over here.
All this.
Way from me.
So we know our mantra, but the first part is, to me, the very most important part. Hold on. Having technical difficulties, bear with me.
Pull out the dongle one more time, put it back in this.
Okay. It's Russia. Russia's been hacking.
And then turn it off, turn it on. Yeah.
Well, turn it on.
I turn around 3 times.
I'm on one foot.
Stand on your left foot.
Hit the middle button, see if you got electricity to it. I mean a battery.
South, southeast.
Yeah, see if you have a laser pointer.
Nope.
You have no laser pointer, you need a battery. Oh no.
Did somebody see the mic?
Bam. Nah, yep. Or just he'll take the battery.
Oh no, I'll take the battery.
Yeah.
That way I can keep it when I leave.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Hey, look, come on, you doing better than last week, you know?
That was a good bad. Yeah, that's a good bad. And hopefully he had it in the right place.
Oh, maybe that was it. I had it like
You had
that.
it like this. It's like this.
See? Okay.
There you go, sir.
Got you.
We cooking with hot grease.
Russia put my battery in backwards.
That's gonna be the Russia. It's all about Russia.
There we are. That first line is so very important, right? Yes. To remember. Yes. Yeah, because just in this first line, it really speaks to some humility, maybe even a whole lot of humility. To make sure that, we never reach a place that we think that we know everything. So we've been talking about this right here a little bit. Yeah, so let's go there. Ephesians 4.
Hurry up.
You there? Okay. It reads, I call upon you, you will be meaning us.
Yep.
Therefore, I, the prisoner of the Master, to walk worthy of the calling with which ye were called, with all humility and meekness, with patience, bearing one another in love, being eager to guard the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. Peace is the glue that holds it all together. One body. That's one assembly, one church, one mishpachah,
One Yashara.
one family, one. And one Spirit, as you also were called in one expectation of your calling. One Master, one belief, one immersion, one Elohim and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. But to each one of us favor was given according to the measure of the gift of Messiah. That is why it says, when he went up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts to men. But what does he went up mean? Except that he also first went down into the lower parts of the earth. He who went down is also the one who went up far above all the heavens to fill all. So often when we read a script, and yes, humility, meekness, patience, we really got to dig in on that observation. When we're being reflective and we're thinking about ourselves. Because we're going to go through, so one aspect of learning is reading. Another aspect of learning is having an experience. And when you go through the experience, hopefully you come back to the Word and let the Word guide how you are going to proceed forward, or how you're going to act, or how you're going to speak and conduct yourself. But you have not so learned Messiah, if indeed you have heard him and were taught by him, as truth is in Yahuwah, that you put off, with regard to your former behavior, the old man. And we all know who the old man is, not just a man, old woman. That old former person that we used to be. Being corrupted according to the desires of deceit, to be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on the renewed man, which was created according to Elohim, in righteousness and set apartness of the truth. Therefore, having put off the false, And I believe in the King James it said lies. Speaking truth, each one with his neighbor, for we are members of one another. Be wroth, or be angry, but do not sin. Don't let the sun go down on your rage or anger, nor give place to the devil, or Hashatan. Let him who stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands what is good, so that he has somewhat to share with those in need. Let no corrupt word or communication come out of your mouth. For those of us that had that little potty mouth, don't let it come out of your mouth. But only such as is good for the use of building up, so as to impart what is pleasant to the ears. That's a key thing. Make sure that it's pleasant to somebody's ears, palatable. We just had an experience where we heard some things to our ears that wasn't palatable, it was harsh. It lacked maturity. And do not grieve the set apart spirit of Elohim. Do not grieve the Ruach HaKodesh, by whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and displeasure and uproar and slander be put away from you, along with all evil, and be kind towards one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as Elohim also forgave you in Messiah. So when you think back to all the things that the Most High has forgiven us for, that kind of should bring things into perspective when I'm thinking about someone else and thinking about forgiving them. The title of the lesson is called Forgiving, because we're getting ready to go into another year. And we want to go into the next year and the next year after, Most High willing, growing. We don't want to stay stagnant. We want to keep maturing and bear much fruit. So this word forgive means to cease to feel resentments against an offender, or to pardon somebody. To give up resentment or a claim to requital. It also means to grant relief from payment. We all like that last one, right? So I looked it up in Strong's. It's Strong's 5375. The pronunciation is Nassau.
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 Nassau. Oh, Nassau.
Two different ones. Yes.
Yes. And so, if you look at the bottom where it says following manner, it says to bear and to lift up 219 times. Right? More than all the other times. To lift up, to bear up, to carry, to take, to support, to carry off, to take away, to be exalted, to rise up, to assist or support, or to aid. Interesting word surrounding this word forgive, right? Upon my research, I discovered there's two Nassau's, and I was confused. So I called up the Hebrew University of Higher Learning, and Aaliyah answered the phone. And I said, explain to me what is going on. So explain to them what you told me.
Okay, so.
Nice and loud.
All right, so the first one that you guys got, Nassau, means, like he said, to go up, which is the one that you hear they say NASA, right? That's a Hebrew word to lift or to go up. But then the other word that you see, Nassau, to the right, If you look up at the top, you see those dots up at the top. The one that's over to the right, it makes a different sound. So you have the shin and you have the sin. So you're going to have the sh sound or you're going to have the s sound. And the difference between the two is they're spelled exactly the same. The only difference is the dots. The one is on the right, the one is on the left. Okay, you have the sin and the shin, right? And then if you look, so one means to be lifted up and the other one is where Eve says she was beguiled. So that's the word to be deceived. So how the world did it was, yeah, they say, no, NASA means to go up, to be lifted up. But then you also look at this other definition, exact same spelling, and it means to beguile.
And so we've probably, all of you have seen on the internet where, they're always representing deception and referring to NASA, the space station, right? Or the science, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, look at that. Going up and deception. So, they twist things. So I made sure that I was breaking this down correctly. You had the right letters. I had one of them wrong, so, 2 out of 3. Not too bad. Okay. Got the correction I needed. So we got a noon, a shin, and a aleph. The noon is a fish to sprout, to spread, offspring, descendant, action, life, heir to the throne, faithfulness. Shin is teeth, ivory, point of the rock, to peak, to devour, consume, destroy, something sharp, El Shaddai. And the aleph is an ox, a bull, gentle, tame, the leader, strength. What is first? Adonai, thousand, and teach. What do y'all got? What saith Yahweh? What y'all come up with? What? Yes, the ones that you came up with yesterday. Do you remember them?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Anybody else want to take a crack at it? What y'all got? Because what is interesting, even though when we go to the Hebrew,
Yeah.
because this when depending upon how you arrange these, right, you can come to a different meaning. Right?
So
go ahead.
what I got was using the noon, the shin, the olive. So I had the action that consumes the strong leader, meaning this action of forgiveness should consume us to the point we completely walk in it as Messiah did. So that's what I got when I looked at it. And then when we kind of switched it around, I could also see the action that separates a leader. Meaning what makes you set apart is the ability to forgive.
Wow.
So that's what I, saw, and that was Yah only, because I would have never came up with that.
Hallelujah. Anybody else? Anybody from the back?
I forget what's
Oh, the internet.
She ducks. What you got already?
what does El Shaddai mean? I forget. I know Adonai.
The one that destroys. El that destroys.
What do you got,
I
Texas?
have one. I was thinking of
Real loud.
I was thinking of to spread and destroy what is gentle. Or maybe something like that. I don't know. Like draw the word, I guess.
Okay. Going once.
Wait.
What does Adonai mean?
Master.
Good question. All right, so this is what I came up with. Heir to the throne of peak. What is first? So let me expound on that a little bit, because we're talking about lifting up. Lifting up the heir of Yahuwah through Mashiach for perfection, maturing in Torah. That's what the Most High gave me. Which kind of brings me back to some of my thinking in terms of how I expressed to you about my thoughts about Matthew 18. Again, lifting up the heir of Yahuwah through Mashiach for perfection, maturing in Torah. And that maturity comes to both sides. If you're able to forgive somebody and lift them up. It's kind of like rescuing a person. It said, until we all come to the unity of the belief and the knowledge of the Son of Elohim, to a perfect man, to the measure of the stature of the completeness of Messiah. Messiah is the mold. That's what's perfect. And we're working towards that. And the son followed his father's example, right?
Yes.
I got Micah 7:18-20. It says, who's an El like you, taking away crookedness and passing over the transgressions of the remnant of his inheritance? He shall not retain his wrath or anger forever, for he himself delights in loving commitment or mercy. To delight in it. That's a strange thought process, right? I mean, how quickly are we to run to show mercy to somebody? Because I know I was kind of conditioned not to be so forgiving. First, you got to come and apologize to me. And then if I didn't have any scripture, I had my own made-up hurdles I had to have you kind of jump over before I can get to the place of forgiving you. But even when I forgave you, I'm gonna hold one of these, so that later on, if there's ever an incident, I can come out with the BAM! And you did this. And then next thing you know, you end up 20 years ago arguing over stuff that don't even make a difference. Little, small, insignificant things.
The little foxes.
Little foxes destroy the vine.
That's it. That's it, sir.
Little foxes. A couple other scriptures that I thought tied into this very nicely. We know that Matthew 18:35 says, so also my heavenly Father shall do to you if each of you from his heart does not forgive his brother his trespasses. You don't forgive them, he ain't forgiving you. That's crystal clear. In Lucas 6:37 it says, and do not judge, and you shall not be judged at all. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned at all. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Right? 19:18, thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahuwah. And Jacob 5:9 says, grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door. One of the issues that we have in life is that we think we got so much time. We only got so many springtime. You can count them. You got 100 of them? You got 50 of them? You got 20 of them? I mean, it helps to bring things into perspective. Because that day is going to approach. And we're all going to have to stand before him. All right? So that leads me to my story.
That's beautiful.
Ain't that a beautiful picture? Man, I could sit up there all day, all night. All right, so let's get it. Bereshit, Genesis 37. Taking it from the top. And Jacob dwelt in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan. This is the genealogy of Jacob. Joseph being 17 years old. So we ain't talking about a 10-year-old. No, 17, he's almost in manhood. Right? Was feeding the flock with his brothers. And the young man was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, her father's wives. And Joseph brought an evil report of them to his father. What do y'all think that evil report might have been? Maybe out there goofing off. Not taking care of business, right? You know, remember when, maybe y'all have had this experience, not, but typically you send a little short legger with the teenagers just because, they're going to come back and tell on you. That's the way that is. And Israel loved Joseph more than all of his children because he was the son of his old age. You had to put in some work to make sure that little guy came. When you got them many kids, right, 9, 10, 11, 12, that's work, yeah. You're going to grow up and be somebody. That's for sure. Right? And he made him a long road, but when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all of his brothers, they hated him.
Mom always liked you best.
Here's the definition for hate. Intense hostility and aversion, usually deriving from fear, anger, or a sense of injury. Extreme dislike or disgust. A systematic and especially political exploited expression of hatred, or just an object of hatred. They hated him and were not able to speak peaceably to him. And Joseph dreamed a dream and told it to his brothers. So they hated him even more. That's 2 times the hate.
Double hate.
Double hate.
Double.
And he said to them, please listen to this dream which I had dreamed. See, we were binding sheaves in the midst of the field, and see, my sheaf rose up and also stood up. And see, your sheaf stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf. And his brother said to him, shall you indeed reign over us? Shall you indeed rule over us? So they hated him even more. 3 times. They hated him. Couldn't stand the sight of him. For his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed still another dream and related it to his brothers. And he said, see, I dreamed another dream. And see, the sun and the moon and 11 stars bowed down to me. And he related to his father and his brothers. And his father rebuked him and said to him, what is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall we, your mother and I, and your brothers indeed come to bow down to the earth before you? And his brothers envied him. Their definition for envy: painful or resentful awareness of an advantage enjoyed by another, joined by the desire to possess the same advantage. They wanted to be on the same level. But they hated him. They envied him. But his father guarded the word, and his brothers went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, are not your brothers feeding the flock in Shechem? I kind of took that like, I already know that they ain't down there doing what I told them to do. All right, they got a track record. You got to be careful of our track record, right? Come, I send you to them. So he said, here I am. And he said to him, please go and see if it is well with your brothers and well with the sheep, and bring back word to me. So he sent him out of the valley of Hebron, and he went to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and see, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, what do you see? And he said, I am seeking, what do you seek? And he said, I am seeking my brothers. Please inform me where they are feeding their sheep. And the man said, they have left here, for I have heard them say, let's go towards Dothan. So Yosef went after his brothers and found them in Dothan. And they saw him from a distance, and before he came near them, they plotted against him to kill him. Now, is there a script that goes along with that? That's not a righteous act.
Shedding innocent blood.
Shedding of innocent blood. That's right. They were conspiring to shed innocent blood. That's wicked. And they said to each other, see, this master of dreams is coming. So now they're mocking him. Now then, come and let us kill him and throw him into some pit. And shall say, this is their lie, that they're going to come up with next. Some wild beast has devoured him. Let us then see what comes of his dreams. But Reuben heard and rescued him from their hands and said, let us not strike his being. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood. Throw him into this pit which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him, in order to rescue him out of their hands. So Reuben was going to go back and get him out, right? And bring him back to his father. So it came to be, when Joseph had come to his brothers, that they stripped Joseph of his robe. Did the robe belong to them?
No. Stealing.
So it was stealing. So they plotted against him, to kill him. They lied on him. And then they stole from him the long robe which was on him. And they took him and threw him in a pit. Now, this is a 17-year-old. That pit had to be deeper than this.
Yes.
Or else he could have probably just crawled out of it. It had to be a deep pit. And there was no water in the pit. So how would that make you feel if you were thrown in the pit and didn't have no water in the pit? Think about that.
I think you're going to die.
You think you're going to die? Absolutely. And they, the brethren, they sat down to eat a meal. And they lifted their eyes and looked and saw a company of Ishmaelites. The elites coming from Gilead with their camels, bearing spices and balm and myrrh, going to take them down to Mitzrayim. And Yehuda said to his brothers, now Yehuda steps up. He's got a bright idea. What will we gain if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our flesh. So now he wants to be a little righteous, right?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And his brothers listened, and men, Midianite traders passed by. So they pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. For cheap. Sold their father's son. And they took Joseph to Mitzrayim, and Reuben returned to the pit, and see, Joseph was not in the pit, and he tore his garments, and he returned to his brothers and said, the boy is gone, and where am I to go? Why do you think he said that?
Because his dad was going to get him.
He was in trouble. He was in big trouble.
Right into everything.
So they took Joseph's robe, slew a male goat, and dipped the robe in the blood, and sent the long robe and brought it to their father, and said, they said this lie, we have found this. Please look. Is it the robe of your son or not? And he recognized it and said, "It is my son's robe." So they didn't do nothing to stop Dad, right, from thinking the way that they set him up to think. That's wicked. "It's my son's robe. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is torn to pieces. And Jacob tore his garments and put sackcloth on his waist and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters arose to comfort him. They pretended to be comforting their father from the wicked deed that they've done."
See, they say your son. They didn't even say our brother. Like to where it's like
They
personal.
have to separate themselves.
They were like, nah, your son. Is that not your son?
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
They already
Like,
started
That's what it
doing it.
is.
Yeah.
disassociate yourself from it, then you don't have the
Because you
emotion.
do, yeah.
That was a good point. I like that.
I see how you have when you start doing one evil thing, you see how you start now
It just,
starts layering up.
now it's fun.
Break one, break them all.
Right.
Yeah.
Go down.
But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that's a very important part. I'm not going to bring that out. Yeah, so you start off with your one little lie, and then you got to compound it by trying to cover it up. And then next thing you know, you're going down this steep hill.
right.
Versus repenting, you are out of control. But he refused to be comforted, and he said, "Now let me go down to Sheol to my son in mourning." So his father wept for him, and the Midianites had sold him to Mitzrayim, to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and a captain of the guard. And so we know most of that story, right? Excellent story. I'm going to jump ahead to 45, 1 through 8. And for me, this is where it gets golden, all right? This is where it gets, you get this. Now, keep in mind, I'm teaching you, let the Ruach move you in the way that he sees fit. But this is what it shows me. "And Joseph was unable to restrain himself before all those who stood by him, and he called out, 'Have everyone go out from me.' So no one stood with him while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. And he wept aloud, and the Mitzrites in the house of Pharaoh heard it." He was crying pretty loud, right? "And Joseph said to his brother, 'I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?' But his brothers were unable to answer him, for they trembled before him." Have y'all ever trembled before?
Yep.
Have you ever been so scared where you are shook?
Yep.
They were shook, right? And Joseph said to his brothers, "Please come near to me." And when they came near, he said, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Mitzrayim." That was their come to themselves moment, right? Like, we're caught red-handed. No wiggle room. I ain't getting out of it. "And now do not be grieved nor displeased with yourselves, because you sold me here, for Elohim sent me before you to preserve life. For 2 years now, the scarcity of food has been in the land, and there are still 5 years in which there is neither plowing nor harvesting. And Elohim sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant in the earth, to give life to you by a great escape." Elohim allowed Yosef to go through all that for the preservation of life. And the life is Israel. And he forgave his brothers. And they didn't ask for forgiveness. So it's possible to forgive without someone having to ask for forgiveness for your own account. Because Joseph had reached a point where he knew who he is and who he belonged to. And he was secure. And he trusted Elohim. It didn't matter who it is that he had to forgive, but he came to himself. Well, Israel's still here, but we got so much hard-heartedness and stiff-neckedness and bitterness and resentment within Israel because we've adopted these customs and have been raised up in it, that we don't know how to get to this place, to whereas we need to be able to let go of some things. You know, what if it made all the difference in the world, right? What if you forgiving that person would be the thing that changes everything about that person's walk? What if you forgiving that person would be the thing that changes everything about your own walk? Even though we told you the little cliche that we use from Christianity, and there ain't a Bible verse for it, for those that deserve it the least, need it the most. That's all I learned at that church, okay? That's the one thing I took away from that church, was that expression.
I would say that expression is biblical because Israel deserved grace the least. However, they needed the most, and they received it because of Moses' obedience and the grace that he found in Yahuwah.
Say that again, man. Nice and loud.
So Israel, because of their disobedience, because after Yahuwah brought them out of Mitzrayim, after he told them that he had set them apart to be his people, to be a holy nation that represents him, they then cheated on him by building a golden calf and choosing an alternate form of praise and worship that was different from what he told them to do. He decided to wipe Israel out, which means that the bulk of us here wouldn't be here. And Moshe stood up and reminded him of his word. And then when Moshe was like, "Hey, you're gonna be with us, right?" And he was like, "Well, my rest and my grace be upon you." And he was like, "No, but what about the people? You gotta remember the people. Like this is your people, me and your people." And then he said, "You know what? I will do as I said I would do, because you have found grace in my sight."
He said, "Y'all repented."
Y'all repented. Oh, man. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Repented to turn back.
You said what? Repentance? Yes. That is it.
Let's see if I can tie this here together. Called Galatians, Galatians. Do not be led astray. Elohim is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, so shall he reap. So if I don't sow mercy or forgiveness, how can I reap it? How you measure it out is how it's going to be measured back to you. If we understand that, why will we not extend it? And extend it with the light.
Emotions get in the way.
Our emotions. And of course, we're always trying to use the logic to override our passions. But we're learning a lot about ourselves and our ability to do that. Sometimes it's not easy to forgive somebody. Sometimes there's some stuff that is so wicked and heinous that you just can't get there. You just can't get there.
I'm sorry. But didn't Yeshua, didn't he forgive Judas?
Didn't you forgive me?
Judas. When he was his last words was what? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So when Judas betrayed him, he could have sat there when he already knew that was going to happen. You know, he could have knocked him out, did something,
told him to leave the table. Told all his partners, come on, let's roll. Let's leave this coward here. Because he's going to betray me. But he sat there and still ate with him. He even said,
He said, come to do what you must, my friend.
Do it quickly.
And he allowed him to kiss him.
Yeah, he even let him kiss him.
Yeah.
He went to, what was it? John 15. And let me go to 15 to 12. I'll go to 11 actually. I'll go to 10, I'm sorry. And then I'll go down.
John 15, where?
Yeah, John 15, and then start at 10. And if you keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandment and abide in his love. These things I have spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you. His joy. Not our own joy, right? But his joy might remain in us. And that your joy might be full. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Not as we love each other, but as he has loved us.
That's the example.
Right?
And it is a commandment, right?
Yes.
So it's not optional.
No.
Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his own life for his friends. That ye are my friends if ye do whatever I command you. So he laid down his life for his friends. And Judas was his friend. Right. And he laid down his life for them. You know what I'm saying? Like a true friend would. A true friend would do something like that. They won't turn their back and leave you. They'll sit there and, dare I say it, endure.
Yeah.
That's deep.
So, Shafir was talking about going to war. Where's Shafir at?
He went home.
Okay. And he says the difference is we're preparing to go to war and I got your back and you got my back, but when the war starts and the bullets start flying, that's when the truth shows up.
Oh, yeah.
All right? So, conditioning our minds starts with actually saying that you are willing to lay your life down for somebody. You have to convince yourself of some dry runs, mental dry runs, for difficult days that are ahead of us. Yeah, so what's that expression? Easier said than done?
Oh, yeah.
We got to count the costs. Code 5:19 and 20, brothers, if anyone among you goes astray from the truth and someone turns him back, let him know that he who turns a sinner from the straying of his way shall save a life from death and cover a multitude of great sins. Would it be possible to be able to forgive somebody and that be the thing that turns them all the way around? An example of Mashiach, showing a person forgiveness. And then you get the bonus. You get to cover a multitude of sins. That's what I need. I need that.
Because that's love. Because Scripture says that love covers a multitude of sins.
Exactly what it is.
So the love, that's the action. That's the action in that script, is to do that very thing, to show, because we know that a hog is an action order. So in order to love, there has to be action behind it. It can't be just saying
The
it.
lip service. Yeah. And it's not easy. As a matter of fact, you can expect it to be difficult because it says narrow is the way and it has difficulty, challenges. It's not going to be easy because he's proven us to see how we're going to act. He's going to throw the bone in the mix. He's going to find out where you stand.
King Saul and King David, all the time. Whenever people were saying, you may have slain thousands, but King David, he slain 10,000. And so obviously King Saul was a little jealous. You know what I'm saying? Started coming after him. And King David, as many times he tried to kill him, King David could have returned that thing to him, but he continuously, over and over, forgave him. Back then, slaying people was, it is what it is. Yeah.
The quickness.
Bury your body in the
Yes. Good point. Ephesians 4:13, until we all come to the unity of the belief. You get to that belief by going through some experiences. It's not just about the knowledge. We have the knowledge, we have the script, but you gotta have that experience. And as you go through these experiences, hopefully you have a tendency to do what saith the Most High. And that way you build your faith up. We're all going to go through stuff. And hopefully we learn the lesson. Second Corinthians 5:10, for we all have to appear before the judgment seat of Messiah, in order for each one to receive according to what he has done in the body, whether good or evil. Whether good or evil. You're going to stand up there out of 100 times? How many times you got Yehukanan offering forgiveness to somebody? How many times you got mercy? It says that some will bring 30-fold, and some 60-fold, and some 100-fold. But you can't show up with nothing. We've been bought with a price. We can't show up with nothing. You show up with nothing, he's going to say, you wicked servant. Depart from me. He's worthy to have more. He laid his life down for us. So as we start to mentally prepare, and we should be mentally preparing for it today, because tomorrow ain't promised. But as we mentally prepare to go into the next year, Most High willing, we go in with a different mindset concerning the old man. With a different mindset to say, I'm going to grow a little bit. I'm going to grow a little bit. I'm going to try to, as much as possible. Right?
Isn't it interesting you have matzah right after?
Yes.
That's very interesting.
It's no until the no
Entering
chance
the
for
year by
living.
checking, examining yourself.
That's right.
And that last one, that's Ecclesiastes 12, 13, right?
Yeah.
Or 14.
To hear the whole.
To hear the whole, and then it says, in every secret thing, whether it be good or evil. So he's pulling that straight up from the wisdom books. Yeah.
Paul, master torch, is some brethren like to say.
Matthew 18:32 through 35. Then his master called him and said to him, wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt, seeing you begged me. Should you not also have compassion? See, we got to work on that compassion. Not hardness of heart, compassion. We're real good at hardness of heart. Stiff neck. We are the masters. We got that part down. In 10. Now, we need to work on compassion on your fellow servant, as I also had compassion on you. The Most High has been compassionate towards us. Sent His Son. His Son shed His blood for us. It's a very high cost. A very high cost. And His Master was wroth and angry, and delivered Him to the torturers until He should pay all that was due to Him. So also my Heavenly Father shall do to you, do to us, if we, from our hearts, do not forgive our brother their trespasses. So let this message today stand as a witness against all of us. That we get the message. Because I think I made it very clear. For all of us. I think what we really need to do, to the best of our ability, is get very, very focused on the times ahead of us. Who would have thought that we would find ourselves today on the verge of World War III? If you know anything about history, it is time to get very focused in terms of preparation, in terms of mental preparation, because things ain't going back as they promised. This ain't built back better for nobody. Things are not going to return to what they call normal. No, we all are aware of what's going on.
Hebrews 4:12-13. For the word of Elohim is quick and powerful, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even the dividing asunder of soul and heart, and of joints and marrow, and is the discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Is there any creature that is not manifest in His sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of Him with whom we shall give account. Again, that's Hebrews, or Ephesians 4:12-13.
Yeah, I know we like to have fun. I am not opposed to having some fun. There's a time to have some fun. There's a time to be very, very, very serious. There's a time to play. There's a time not to play. There's a time for war, and we are at war. So make sure that we have our homes in order. Make sure everyone in your home is in order and ready and strapped up like Mexican bandits, all right? We got to be ready. That's right. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right. All praise to the Most High. You want to pray us out?